Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Demonland podcast, a very special edition of the Demonland podcast tonight, because in about 10 minutes' time, we'll be joined by none other than MFC cult figure and possibly one of the hardest workers in the team, Neville Jetta. My name is Andy, and joining me, as he always does, is my co-host, Great Viney. Good evening, Mr. Viney.
Good evening, Andy, and good evening to all the Demonlanders out there. Pretty pumped to speak to Nifty. Pretty excited, actually.
Yeah, I'm rapt and honoured that we're getting to speak with Neville. I've admired him from afar for a long time, and it'd be great to sort of speak to him and hear what makes him tick as a player.
Do you reckon he knows how popular he is?
I don't know.
Among the supporter base, I mean?
Look, I have no idea. I guess it depends on sort of how much the players sort of follow. They probably don't read things like Demonland. I don't know. They probably get a lot of messages on Twitter and Instagram and the like. I'm not sure how much Neville pays attention to that, but he's certainly one of the popular guy. I went to the MFC Family Day, which was a great morning the other day, and he was one among many popular players, that the kids all want a photo with. So
the much coveted Demon Bracket Award on Twitter just a few weeks ago, which is basically just a popularity contest. If people aren't familiar with it, their names are just pulled out of a hat as player on player. You vote for which player you like, or the name that you like. And Nev won, and he won convincingly over Clayton Oliver in the grand final. And I think it was the biggest winning margin in Demon Bracket history. So certainly among Twitter fans, he's number one at the moment.
How scientific is this poll? I need
It's not very
stats.
Scientific at all. I think it's probably about 200 people voted in the final. But if it's it's a representative sample, perhaps of the broader membership and supporter base.
Well, it's a good title to have, and I think we'll ask him about it. From what my perception of Neville is, I'm sure he's will be quite humble, and I'm another great thing about Nev that this year was his best year at the club. I think he was fifth in the BNF this year, and what a well-deserving accolade, and was probably very, very unlucky not to make All-Australian this year, and we'll talk to him about that too.
Yeah, he definitely elevated his game last season, and I think probably since he came back, he's just improved year on year. But as you say, last year was just a sensational season from him, very consistent. He really is dependable. Down in the back line there, plays well above his height sometimes, and saved a game, really. Saved the game against Carlton with that spectacular double save at the end in the dying minute there, and we'll probably ask him about that too, and if we're lucky, we might even have the audio of that, I believe.
We do, and if anyone was listening to the pre-feed that I've got running on, I was basically playing that on a loop, that and the last 2 minutes of that game we played on a loop, in addition to some commentary afterwards about it. So people would have heard that coming into it. If you didn't, just before we get to Nev, we'll play that bit of audio from that piece of play, because it's one of the most inspirational pieces of play, and just absolutely, if you want to tell someone about Neville Jetta, I don't think you have to use words. You just whack that vision on the screen, and that just says everything about the way the guy plays the game. And I can't wait to talk to Nev about that. I will mention to anyone who is listening to this live, if you want to join in with us, we've got a chat room. If you go to demonland.com/podcast, there's a link at the top of the page. On every page you're on, you'll see that. If you're listening to this, later on, we do the show live every Wednesday night, so you can join us live. And if we do have a guest on, you can ask some questions in our chat room. Make sure you're signed up to Demonland and logged in, and you'll be ready to go. I don't think we'll be taking calls while we've got Nev on because we've got a limited time with him. But later on, we will be taking calls, so listen out for the numbers and a little bit later. I think what we might do is now we're going to take a quick break. We'll get Neville on the phone and we'll come back, so stay tuned. I'll whack back on that feed that we were playing before. And we'll be when we come back from the break, Neville Jetta will be joining us. Stay tuned.
Now a chance for the Blues. Jetta's got to go over the top. He lost his feet. Thomas puts it into the path of Jetta versus Simpson. Jetta did really, really well. Massive ball from Neville Jetta. Now Frost. Back towards half forward. McCready and Lamb. It spills to Petrarca at ground level. Can look up inside 50. Find a target. Neil Bullen. What a ball from Neville Jetta.
Our guest tonight is a cult hero among Melbourne supporters and probably one of the first picked every week when it comes to team selection. The picture hasn't always been that rosy though. After a promising debut year in 2009, injury and inconsistency put the brakes on his career and he was delisted at the end of 2013, only to be redrafted again and given a lifeline by incoming coach Paul Roosy. He hasn't looked back since, elevating his game to become arguably the best small defender in the league, finishing fifth in the MFC Best and Fairest last year. He's a leader on and off the field. He's played 116 games for the Demons. He's also represented Australia. Welcome to the Demonland podcast, Nev Jetta.
Hi guys, thanks for having me.
Not a problem, Nev. Thanks for joining us. We know you're a busy man with the season almost upon us, and you've got a young family too, so we appreciate your time. You had your best season yet in 2017. You're fifth in the Best and Fairest, in contention for all Australian honours, and arguably very unlikely to miss out. Have you hit the peak yet, or do you still have areas of your game where you think you can improve? And if so, what are those areas?
I don't think I've sort of hit my peak yet. I think the biggest thing is belief within myself to be able to play sort of week in, week out, and really good footy. Obviously, I've had a real consistent year last year that I was pretty wrapped about, not only from a performance base, but sort of off-field everything sort of went pretty smoothly. So, but like I said, I still feel like I've got a lot to improve, and if I just keep improving, hopefully I can stay around for a bit longer.
You said in an interview recently that you hate to let your teammates down and that you relish the trust that they put in you to get the job done. Can you just expand on that a bit and what sort of drives you to success?
Yep. It's almost being brought up the way in my community, sort of Aboriginal man and Noongar man from Barbara. Everyone sort of relies on everyone to get through, and money wasn't the thing we had the most, and everyone just relied on each other, and when one person couldn't help, then the whole community suffered, and that's sort of the traits that I sort of grew up with. So I think I've almost a similar sort of being in a footy club is almost similar to being in a community. It's you got your 44 other players, you got your coaches, you got all the staff, and I feel like if I have a bad game or I'll let a small forward like Getty Betts or something like that get a hold of us, then I feel like that comes directly back to me. Obviously, there are a lot of factors that go into a footy game for a person, a forward or someone I'm playing on to be able to kick a goal, but I feel like I haven't done my job as well as I could, and And that's sort of why I feel that the most, if I let anyone down, hits me the hardest, because I obviously see the reactions and the feeling that they get whenever something happens that directly sort of correlates to me. So, I'll just go out, and there's obviously Roosy was a pretty big influence coming back, comes to the footy club back in 2013. So, and he put a lot of trust and faith in me to be able to play a role to try and negate those small forwards that were doing us at the time. So, and I didn't want to let him down, and then also he's carried out to teammates. And now being in a position I am in now of being a leader within the footy club, there's more responsibility that goes with that. But then also I feel the role model I am towards my community back home, and being in Melbourne as well. Things have actions have sort of consequences, and I was trying to make them more positive.
Yep.
You mentioned Eddie Betts. You have the best defensive record in the league against Eddie, who undoubtedly is the best goal sneak in the competition. Is he your toughest opponent, and what's the secret to keeping him quiet?
Sorry. He's definitely bloody hard to play against. As you see, you sort of give him half a metre and he kicks one over the back of his head. So, he's definitely up there. That's the thing, the concentration level with all those blokes, and the sort of time and effort you have to put into them, not only leading up to the game, but during the game, is enormous. And to be able to get a result sort of that I have on him, it's something that I sort of take for granted, because he can turn that around pretty quickly in one game, or one quarter really. You definitely have your wits about you whenever you play on him. But he's been obviously, it was sort of my sort of breakout game was on him. Really put it on me to really take my opportunity that I had back in 2014. And I definitely feel like I did that day. And you sort of get the wood over some players that you play well on. They remember that, and you remember it. Every time now before we play Adelaide, Jeffy Garlett's still pretty close mates with him, and I'll get Jeffy to send me a text the week leading up to this to make sure that I'm going to be playing on him again.
Psych him out a little bit.
But no, he's definitely one of the hardest players I've played on in that position. Obviously, you got Chad Wingard and lots of other small forwards now in Richmond up and coming, playing some real good small forwards. Just trying to improve my teammates around me to make my job a lot easier, and having Hibbo and Jake Oliver and Hunty and these sort of blokes and Wagner to be able to play that role and be able to excel in it is something I'm taking great pride in, because these blokes are going to be around a bit longer than what I am, and long after I'm gone. So looking forward to seeing them improve their game this year, and obviously I've done a bit of work with them, sort of one-on-one stuff at training. Hopefully, you might have seen a bit with Wagner last week going north. He definitely put his craft on show against some bigger boys. So I'm just looking forward to seeing them go about their business this year and help me out a bit.
Competition for spots. Yep.
Yeah.
We won't rake over the highs and lows of last season, but one particular passage of play typified your year, and that was your acrobatic, upside-down, double save and spoil in the final minute against Carlton, which saved a certain goal and obviously won us the game. We heard the audio of that before. Take us through it, because you were one out against two Blues, and as the ball came sort of down the ground, you must have been thinking, I'm in trouble here.
It's sort of just a reaction sort of play. You do it without thinking, but at the time I seen the ball come in, I just wanted to mark it, and that's why I sort of flew. I knew if I marked it, we would have had control of the ball, and I would have just bombed it back down the line. Obviously, didn't have no marker and had to get up real quickly. I knew Frosty sort of the closest guy to me. And I actually thought Dale Thomas was on the ground with me, and we both got up at the same time. But Daisy kept his feet after watching the vision, and Simpson sort of flew past me pretty quick, so I just got up and tried to chase him. And yeah, sort of cover him a bit, and I was just happy, or lucky enough that Thomas just handballed to us. If he had bombed, it would have been right deep in their 50, and I think they had two other forwards that are left early from the contest down the line. But yeah, it's something that I sort of look back about. How did I do that myself?
It's one of the plays of the year, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
As we said in the intro, you've become a bit of a cult hero among the supporters because of the way you've turned your career around and your no-nonsense approach to the game. But recently you won on Twitter a popularity contest that's conducted each year. You beat Clayton Oliver by a very comfortable margin in this grand final.
Yep.
Are you aware of your popularity and the admiration of the fans? Is that something you're aware of?
Yeah, probably the admiration part of it, but obviously the popularity is probably there's some big players that are playing for our club at the moment, like Gorney and obviously Clary when they're that's Trout last year, and maybe Brownlow this year. But
I like that.
There's some other unbelievable players running around. I'm pretty lucky to get to play with. So I'll just sort of get in line really for those blokes. But it's great to feel the support from the supporters and the passion that they bring each week, whether we win or lose.
Many on Demonland wanted you in the leadership group when we were talking about it before it was announced. Is that something that you aspire to, or do you think that you're really a leader already with your actions on and off the field?
Sorry. Go again.
You got the little ones in the background?
Yeah, she's stalling on the bed at the moment.
I know the feeling.
I just said that many on the forum that we're on, Demonland, wanted you in the leadership group. Is that something that you aspire to, or are you already a leader anyway with your actions on and off the field?
I'll like to be, would have loved to be in the leadership group this year, but we've got some pretty good leaders already in there, and I feel like I'll lead, and the boys know that I'll lead on field and say what I need to say if I need to say something at training, and they I feel like I've got the respect from the playing group to be able to do that. Obviously everyone wants to aspire to be a leader within the footy club. Like I said, I'm not happy sitting back, but I'm one that when things need to be done, I feel like I can get up and say what I need to say or do what I need to do. So, and I feel like I'm the oldest. I think I'm the oldest guy. And me and Hibbo maybe in the back line this year. So apart from Louis and Bernie, that are really genuine sort of defenders. Really taking a leadership role within that sort of backline group, and just looking forward to try and help my teammates around me within the backline group, but then also give the leadership within the footy club to the younger boys that are coming through, but then also voice my opinions when I need to. I'm like I said, we've got some pretty good leaders in our leadership group already that the players have voted for, and it's always been sort of player votes to get in the leadership group, and obviously the players have chosen. But like I said, I'm going to lead regardless and do what I need to do because I know the team benefits from me being that leader that they need.
Speaking of the defence, Michael Hibberd quickly became a mainstay of the backline last year, and he had a stellar season. Jake Lever joins the ranks this year. Tell us a bit about Jake and what he brings to the table. By all reports, he's got a very mature head on his shoulders for someone so young.
Yeah, he's like you said, exactly what you said pretty much. He's very mature for his age, and definitely brought a different perspective. Obviously, he comes from the Crows over to us, and definitely challenged us as a group on the field and off the field. And yeah, he's just been great to be around the footy club. But then sort of on field, he's obviously becoming a very, very good player. He's someone who's one of the best intercept players in the game. So to be able to sort of complement him and along with Hibbo and Hunty and these sorts of blokes, I think it was a well-rounded, sort of flexible sort of backline this year. I'm really looking forward to playing with those sorts of blokes. Like I said, we're just going to try and continue to find and work with him on his weaknesses and his strengths and really exploit his strengths on game day. And that goes for sort of everyone in the back line. Just looking forward to helping them play their best footy.
Yep. Nev, we thank you very much for your time. Have you got just time for a couple more? And then we'll let you go.
Yep.
You've been the elder statesman among the indigenous boys on the list for a while now. You've taken them under your wing and been a bit of a mentor. Matty Whelan's now at the club in a sort of an indigenous liaison role, I guess you could call it. How's it been having his experience on hand, and has it changed sort of your role at all? Or
like I said, I've been sort of the main sort of guy or go-to guy for all things when it sort of comes to, like, obviously Indigenous Jump, Indigenous Round and Reconciliation Week, NAIDOC Week and Sorry Day, stuff like that boys probably don't think about as much and just sort of get to sort of just rock up and be footy players and just worry about footy. It's a role that I sort of took up once Flash sort of left and Wheel sort of left the footy club and once we sort of got our on-field stuff sort of sorted, I was able to ask the club to be able to implement obviously a footy jumper for Indigenous Round and do a bit more stuff up in Alice that we were going to, but also recognise NAIDOC Week and Reconciliation Week and that sort of stuff. And then also cultural awareness sessions within the footy club for players and staff. And now sort of the pinnacle has sort of been the wrap. So, but having Wheels on board definitely helped my footy. And I sort of feel last year was no coincidence with how my form and why sort of it's been my best year. He's one that's taken a lot of load off me. And that's why I sort of push Peter Jackson and the guys at the footy club to be able to get someone into the footy club like Matthew Whelan, because we're dealing, I was dealing myself and then also trying to work with Jeffy to work together to try and get through emails and sort out jumper designs and do cultural awareness sessions for the players and the stuff that we didn't need to do as players. You know, we're being footy players and that's stressful enough as it is, and then also on top of that we're trying to do the best thing to cultural educate our teammates and our staff at the footy club, but then also the AFL and the community within the AFL and the supporters. So it definitely takes its toll. So to be able to have someone take control of all of that, definitely freed me up mentally to be able to just go and enjoy football. I can't thank the club enough for getting Wheels on board, and he's been amazing this year. Definitely got the wrap sorted for us, and then also bringing new ideas from his sort of work experience post-football. He's one that we see every day, we talk every day, we go for sort of a coffee every day. So he's one that I've looked up to since I walked to the footy club, and I still do, and he's one that's really almost like a sounding board. So with all things to do with football club and also outside as well. So like I said, there's no coincidence with my form and Jeffy's form as well, and young Dion's coming along and Jay's working real hard. So he's one that doesn't get a lot of the praise, but he's done an amazing job with us to be able to let us play football.
That's great to hear. On the cusp of this new season, what are the expectations coming into it? We missed the finals by a whisker last year. Is it a case of finals or bust in 2018, or has Simon Goodwin and the other set other targets in terms of the team's development? Because we're still a relatively young list.
Sorry. the other one's playing up now.
Basically, just
I know they're up now.
Yeah, not a problem. So what are the expectations coming into this year? Is it finals or bust, or is there something else, other targets?
We'd like to say finals, but obviously that's sort of the end product. I think at the moment we're just trying to really build that winning culture. And playing JLT has been a good start. And obviously AFL can JLT, and we sort of got like a final rehearsal tomorrow night. So we're just getting everyone to compete for spots and that'll drive the performance on field, I think. So we probably didn't have as much depth over the last few years, but I think at the moment we're probably the best we've been in that area. I think anyone can come in and play anyone's role. Just really looking forward to seeing blokes playing consistent football right across the field. And I think obviously it's been spoken about a lot of sort of attracting these sort of blokes, stepping up their game and really becoming consistent footballers. And like I said, last year's a lot of different sort of factors didn't go away. Obviously, injuries, suspension didn't help for some of those games early in the year that we actually should have won, and you guys probably knew that as well. But just really playing consistent football week in, week out, and having blokes compete for spots every week is something that I want to see with our footy club. And I know that with the depth that we have now right across the board, just looking forward to seeing that. And obviously I'm a part of that as well, so looking forward to not only fighting for my spot, but playing consistent football, because I know that blokes like Joey Smith and Wagner and Hunty are playing really good football and doing everything they can to be in the team.
Well,
one final. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Andy.
No, you go ahead, Jace.
I was just going to say one final one from us, Nev. What was Roosy's message to you at the end of 2013? What did he say or do that helped you to turn it around, basically? Did that drive come from an internal motivation to sort of prove your doubters wrong?
It's probably just some of the things he sort of said was the football club's going to be a lot different. Obviously, I was Delissa at the time, and the club spoke to me about putting me back on the books halfway through that off season, and at the time I obviously had Nalani. She would have been 2, so my mind was sort of looking after her and my wife Samantha, and my sort of preferred option was to go back home and play waffle football and just sort of have a sort of a longer term sort of life, if that makes sense, and just really look after them. So that was sort of my thinking at the time. But obviously Rudy said no, it's obviously going to be a different football club, and we got some new coaches, and we really want you to stay. I've seen sort of the last few games, the last sort of 5 or 6 weeks of the season, and I think we can really find a role for you here, and sort of gave me that belief and sort of passion again that it's going to be okay. Come back to the footy club and play football. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that's happened before that with different coaches and our performances, and just a lot of stuff to deal with on top of just playing football. And probably to sort of tell you the truth, my mind was sort of cooked from football at that time, being 23. And I was like, surely football's supposed to be a bit more enjoyable than this. And it sort of cooked me a bit after injuries and that sort of stuff and own form. So it was just that sort of reassurance and confidence that he gave me to come back in and to tell me that I can still play some real good football for the football club. Sort of changed my mind, but then I also chatting with my wife at the time. She just said, give it another go, give it one more year and see how you go. If obviously it doesn't work out, then that's fine. We can still go back to WA and do what you want to do over there, and we can sort of set the kids up in school and that sort of stuff. So, I just didn't want to feel like I was being too selfish or selfish, full stop, and just worrying about myself. Obviously, so that my actions are going to have a flow-on effect for them, I didn't want to sort of delay them another year where we could have been set up. But Roosy's obviously had that influence, and then Goody coming on board really gave me the confidence to really take my game to another level. And he's still doing that to this day, continues to challenge me and all the rest of the coaches to not only just be happy with where I'm at, but continue to improve every day. And not only sort of is said to me, but the whole playing group. And I think that's probably why you'll see us continue to improve this year again. So, but obviously that's a pass, and very happy to be able to say that I sort of pushed through that sort of period, and playing some pretty good football now, and just looking forward to continue to sort of give to the footy club and my teammates and my family, and hopefully I'm here for a lot longer.
We hope you do too. We want to really thank you for joining us on the Deemerland podcast tonight. We really do appreciate it, and we wish you all the best for this coming season and future seasons, and hopefully we see some of that ultimate success.
Definitely. Thank you guys for bringing me on, and take it easy if we have some bad losses here.
All right, mate. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you very much, and good luck tomorrow night.
All right, thanks, mate.
Cheers.
See you guys. Bye.
Well, that was Neville Jetta. What a great interview. From a guy who was almost, his football career was over. He was ready, packed his bags and ready to go back to WA and start a life, and set up his family over there to, on the cusp of greatness. Hopefully,
incredible effort to to do what he's done. In those seasons since Roosy gave him the second chance, but he's. As AF has just mentioned in the thread, he's very impressive. Didn't feel like we were getting spin at all.
No, not at all.
Sounds like genuine enthusiasm and genuine belief, which we can sort of see, can't we, from a distance?
Yeah.
But it's good to have it confirmed. But really impressive bloke. Got a good head on his shoulders.
Yeah, you could tell there wasn't spin there, because when we sort of asked, I think you did, about the leadership group, it sounded like he was a little upset not to be included in the leadership group, and we know Nev is going to lead regardless, anyway. But there wasn't spin, because if you put spin on it, you'd say the team things, and it's good. I'm sure that'll drive him even further.
Very grateful to have the time that we had with him. It was 20 or 25 minutes. So definitely appreciate that, because he does have two young ones. But, we had another probably half dozen questions we wanted to get through and didn't get a chance, unfortunately. Yeah. So apologies out there for some of you who had stuff you wanted answered. Tried to cover as much as we could in the time that we had, but
we basically cut out a lot of questions. We didn't want to keep him any longer. He's got a game to play tomorrow night. He's got to put these kids to bed. I did want to ask him about the kids, and we wanted to know if there'd be a Jetta Junior down the track playing for either the men's or the women's team, and I guess we're just going to have to wait 15 years until we find out.
Yeah, I think... Yes, we will.
It's always an important question we need to ask any current Demon or past Demon players, whether we're going to have father-son and now father-daughter down the track. So, great interview. Rapt to talk to him, honoured to talk to him, and he's a cult figure at the club, and wish him the best. I think
maybe he knew about the Demon bracket victory. He didn't quite want to let on, but he seemed perhaps to be familiar with it when you raised it. So maybe he is secretly checking Twitter, and maybe all the boys were to see who'd get up.
Could quietly be talking about Deemerland, because I'm not sure what he said at the end, but he said something about reading about bad losses. Maybe that's a little thing about, people coming on Demonland to vent after a bad loss. But
well, he's not meant to come onto Demonland,
No.
according to what we're told, that the players are warned off, or don't pay too much attention to what's happening on social media. So,
yeah. Well, look,
he
they
might have
shouldn't.
just been having a laugh. But
And it's not just Demonland; it is social media tends to break down with a loss.
it does.
But you know what? That's I liken it to it's just a virtual place where people can get together and talk to like-minded people. I mean, not everyone. We don't all have Melbourne supporters in our life. Like, I know my wife doesn't want to hear about the loss when I come home, so I get on Demonland or social media to vent, and I'm sure I'm not the only one like that.
Yep. The other thing about Nev, of course, is he, Jonesy and Max are pretty much the only three left. Is that right, from the bad old days? Tommy, Mac as well, I suppose.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, to compare, I suppose he did give a bit of a hint into that, the difference in the environment at the club and the mood, among the playing group is obviously 180 degrees different from what it was in those long, cold, bitter winters of 2012 and 13.
Well, hopefully those days are long past us, and hopefully, we've only got better times ahead of us.
Because there seems to be a genuine camaraderie among the players now, doesn't there?
Yeah.
Like if you do follow them on social media, they're always with each other, and they just seem to be really enjoying all aspects of their footy.
Yeah. Well, I've been following a lot of them on social media for the last couple of years, and I think the camaraderie's always been there between the team. You always see them, playing their Xboxes and whatever with each other, going out to parties and birthday, whatever. But I don't think that's
Nev
anything
doesn't get
new.
to do that with two little ones at home.
No.
And he's in the minority there. I mean, Jonesy's got kids now, and Geordie Lewis does, but I don't think too many others do. Cam Peterson.
Yeah, Melksham has got a kid.
Melksham does, yep. Yeah, I suppose there's a few.
There's a couple. But look, a lot of the guys are sort of just turned 20, early 20s. So, good times ahead.
Speaking of happy players,
yes.
I noticed the other day that on the Demonland Instagram feed, you posted a picture of Christian Petrarca, and he wasn't smiling. And that is that the only picture of him in existence where he's not laughing his backside off? Because he seems to be the happiest guy in the world, even happier than Jack Watts.
Well, I didn't.
Which is no mean feat.
I didn't take the photo, so I'm not sure what the mood was at the time. But it was their official photos that they had. That not the team photos, but a select few players had sort of portraits taken that they can use, I guess, for news stories and the like. And the whole series of them were of the players in very serious poses, so that was just one of them. So, but yeah, you're right. So you don't see Petrarca, without a smile at all, ever. And I saw him the other day at the family day that I mentioned earlier, and he got a smile on his face the whole day. And the family day was a great day. All the players were very accessible. They would have had some sore faces from smiling all day because they were taking selfies and having photos and lifting up kids and babies and was a great day. If anyone wants to give the show a call and speak about the interview we just did, or about the family day, or about the upcoming game tomorrow night, 03 9016 3666. That's 03 9016 3666. Or you can Skype us on Demonland 31. We'll take your call and.
Speaking of Instagram pics, Wayne Ludby posted one earlier tonight of Jack Viney.
Yes, I saw that.
The Fox Footy launch, and he's very heavily made up and looks like an extra out of a David Bowie clip. So you don't see that too often either, I wouldn't have thought.
I think, and I'll
He's
just
got very
go.
heavy eye makeup on.
Don't know if it was the launch. I think it might have been you know how they film some stuff that they sort of play alongside.
No, I don't think this is
No?
that. The caption here says, working the angles at the Fox footy launch tonight.
Okay. Well. Yeah, he did.
But, jump on Instagram. And
yeah, no, I can see. I'm looking at the...
I was talking to the listeners and check out Wayne Ludby's feed and you'll see what I'm talking about.
And you should follow Wayne Ludby. You should follow Wayne Ludby anyway on Twitter and Instagram because some of his photos are just sensational that he takes. So there's a few photographers that take AFL photos and do a fine job at that. So yeah, give them a follow on Instagram or Twitter. Dees.
I could put this picture in the Jack Viney Made Me Cry thread.
You should.
Anyway, we'll move on.
We'll move on. We'll talk about the game shortly. Before that, we had another re-signing this week. Mitch Hannan signed on until 2020, and we just keep ticking off these signings, and it's a good one to get. Mitch was a bit of a surprise packet early last year. I don't think anyone sort of expected it, and I think he ended up playing almost every game during the year. I think he was rested or was injured for one or two, but has become sort of a mainstay of the team.
Yeah, and he'll start in the first. I would have thought he's going to start in round one. He's a good player, and hopefully he just gets better and better.
Now, do we still need to talk about whether there's room for both him and Bailey Fritsch in that first game? Or
I noticed a bit of discussion about that on the boards. It's definitely an interesting question. I think some of that might be answered. I don't know, the coaches might have their minds made up already. They know more than we do, but I guess we'll wait and see how Bailey performs this week. But if he plays as well as he did in JLT1, it's going to be hard to leave him out. But I can't see him replacing Hannan.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
I can probably see the two of them in the first 22.
Yeah, well, look, I've been saying it the last few weeks. I think he's replacing Jack Watts' spot, and Jack Watts was playing with Mitch Hannan in the same team, so I don't see why him and Bailey. I mean, even though you can't make a direct comparison between Watts and Fritsch, but Fritsch is kicking 3 goals, and Jack Watts was in the team to kick goals. So if Bailey can keep doing it, he'll be getting a game round one. Talking about round one, I know it's still a while away, but there was a bit of conflicting stories about Jack Viney and whether he would be right for round one and where is he going to get the match fitness for that game. So we've got the JLT2 tomorrow night. He's obviously not playing in that because he wasn't named.
Tomorrow night or Friday night?
No, it's Thursday night. Definitely Thursday night. So better change your plans.
Yes.
Yes, the 8th of March it is, 7:05 p.m. at Casey Fields. Get out there and support the boys. He's not playing tomorrow night. I believe Casey have a practice match this weekend on Saturday. I don't know if he's playing in that. I think Hogan was... Did you hear anything about this? Hogan was interviewed this morning as part of the presser training this morning and did mention, I think, what I read was correct, that
Viney would play in that...
play this week.
In the practice match, yeah.
And then there was an article on afl.com.au refuting that, well, not saying what he said was hogwash, but saying... And this could just be a beat-up story because they like to, media makes up stories all the time, fake news, that he would be not playing this week and may not play even the next Casey match before the start of the season.
Is there one the following weekend? Is there?
Yeah, I think there's one the following week. So there is time for him to get some match practice before. Let's ask the question: does Jack Viney need match practice? Would you want him to play a game before round one, or would you be happy for him to slot in without having played a game? Obviously, you want him to play a game, but can he? Is the question.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's been doing a lot of running, but running isn't match fitness, is it?
Yeah.
And by all accounts and the way Goodwin's played and selected the JLT teams, he wants players to get that sort of match fitness and match run in their legs before the real deal. Viney hasn't trained properly all pre-season until very recently, so it'll be a tough call if he doesn't play in the next 2 weeks. I would have thought he'd be then doubtful for round one. Did Casey at least play on the same weekend as round one, or do we not?
On round one, no, I don't have Casey's fixture up already. If we vamp for a moment, I might be able to bring it up. VFL fixture 2018.
Someone might be able to tell us in the chat room.
Yeah, if you are listening to this live, and there are a number of you doing that, you can join us in the chat room. You can chat, ask questions, or join in the conversation yourself. demonland.com/podcast. Get to there. You can still listen to us live and chat with us in real time. And if you want to call us, 0390163666. Anything you want to talk about, Skype Demonland31. Well, I did bring up the fixture. Round one. Oh, my goodness, what a bad website. VFL.com.au, lift your game. You have to open up a PDF. Their first game is, their first week of play is, it's after, so unless there's practice matches, it's April 7th is the first, Casey play on April 8th.
Another 2 weeks after round one, basically. So
I'm assuming they'll have some practice matches, but whether they're having practice matches before.
So, a bit of a question mark.
Yeah.
I guess we just got to wait and see. Fingers crossed he plays, though.
So what do you make of the predictions in the media? There's been a couple, and, sometimes it's just clickbait. Some of these so-called experts are writing us off, saying we're not even going to make the final. We'll struggle to make the finals. Some are basing it on not trusting the Dees, which I have trust issues about the Dees at times, but I expect us to make the finals this year, but people are using, some experts, and I say experts rather loosely, are saying that we're not going to make it because they just don't trust us. To win those games that need to be won, the Fremantles, the North Melbournes, and the like, and the round 23 type matches. What do you think? I mean, Blighty said would struggle to make the 8 because we don't have many players who've played 100 games. I mean, I think that's ridiculous.
I think experience is it's not an issue, but it is a fact, the inexperience.
But to make the finals,
we're still a young list. No, I'm not saying that. I said last year that we could have a successful year and still miss out on the finals. And in spite of the disappointment at round 23, I think that's how you can categorise last year. It was still a pass mark from me. I can't really see how we could get a pass mark and miss this year, unless there were, extenuating circumstances such as a horror run with injuries. We really should be, and hopefully will be playing in September. But we are still young. And I think this whole business of the trust is a bit of a misnomer because as I say, this team is young. They're very new players, and some of this trust stuff is historical, right? And very historical, as in, we had trust issues in the late 80s and the early 90s. We'd go through periods, we'd lose 5 games in a row. 1988, we only fell into the, was it a final 5 back then still?
Final 5, yep.
I only fell into the finals on the last round. So some of that trust stuff is historical, and you can't blame Clayton Oliver for what happened in 1988. And as far as the current crop of players is concerned, they've only really been around for 3 or 4 years, most of these kids. So, and prior to that, it wasn't trust issues and us throwing games that we should have won. We couldn't beat anybody. So, trust goes back historically, but the more recent history is losing to everyone and everything. And we weren't, for 3 or 4 years, we weren't favourites against anyone. So I don't know how we could sort of, lose trust.
Well, look, that was Mark Robertson, Robbo, Slobbo, as he's also known. He made that statement about the trust issues. He didn't really back it up with anything else. He just said that trust issues. Blight was the surprising one who made that sort of sweeping statement about us, not having the experience with 100 gamers. And someone on Demonland, Jag007, did a little bit of research about a couple of flag teams, and I'll just mention the Demons at the 2018 Demons. So our team at the end of this home and away season that's going to be played will have, and this is approximately 8 players with 100 games experience, 12 with 50, and 2 with less than 50 games of a 22 player sample that they used. The 93 Essendon flag had very similar. Had even worse. They had 7 with 100, 7 with 50, and 6 with less than 50 games. And it goes on. There's Adelaide as well, had 5 with 100, 9 with 50, and 7 with less than 50. And it goes on. There at 98 Adelaide, 2008 Hawthorn, 2016 Bulldogs, 2017, all sort of with either similar or younger listener than we'll have at the end of this year. So for someone who's an expert, it's just, this statement he's made on radio is just totally, there's nothing to back it up, and things that prove him wrong. So, I mean, what do we say about these experts who are going out there? And I'm not saying that they should be saying Melbourne will make top 4 and win a flag. But, if you're going to make statements about struggling to make the 8, then you've got to back it up with a little bit more.
Particularly when you include a complete non sequitur in it, which is what he did when he said, it doesn't mean you can't win, but I guarantee you won't win.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a bit of a head spinner when you think about it. So, look, to be honest, to answer your original question, I don't really pay attention to any of it. And I think what sometimes some people forget is that for the footy commentators and so-called experts, they are covering 18 clubs.
Yes.
We know ours intimately, the back to fronts and inside outs. But they will, sometimes have a very short period of time before they've got to give a comment on a certain situation, and they'll go and rip one stat off from the stats books and there's your opinion. I don't pay attention to any of that, and I don't think the club does either. I certainly hope the players aren't, because that's just grist for the footy mill, and just filling up newspaper copy and broadcasting time, and we love it. It's part of footy.
Yeah, look,
it doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't, and some people, whenever I put up these articles, always, whenever I see one of these articles that, an expert has said this, I start a thread on Demonland, and people get, some people get a little bit angry. Oh, why are you putting this up? But basically, anything that is discussed about the Dees in the media or on social media, I bring it to Demonland's attention to discuss. You don't have to like what's being discussed or who's discussing, but, they're talking about the Dees, and we're a forum about the Dees. So we're going to bring that to your attention. There's another so-called expert, Matthew Lloyd, who someone said Matthew Lloyd has also provided some insightful commentary about us via 3AW with Gerard Healy and Dwayne Russell. And this is what he said Monday, the Feb 19th, before JLT 1. He said, Melbourne won't play finals, Gerard. You just can't trust them. So, all right, so this was before JLT 1. And then after, on Monday, the February the 26th, after JLT 1, I tell you who's a real smoky for top 4, Gerard. It's Melbourne. So within a week, he's changed his tune based on us beating probably who's the team that's most touted to take out the spoon this year.
And just looking over at the TV, they are Richmond are fixing them up by a pretty similar amount to what we did. So
there you go. And Richmond were premiers, so that means we'll be premiers. Yes, doesn't it? It always works that way.
The old playground rule.
We beat you, so whoever you beat, we're better than. Experts. We're all experts. Champions in our own lunchboxes. What else? All right, we'll talk about the game. Were you surprised with any inclusions or exclusions? So we had, coming into the team, Neville Jetta, who we spoke to tonight. Jeffy Garlett's back. Dom Tyson is back. And Sam Frost is back. And out of the team so far, Neil Bullen being rested. And Geordie Lewis, who did his calf in the first game. I would say I'm not sure how severe that calf injury is, but I would say he's just being rested. Probably.
A&B has got a groin problem.
Oh, it is groin? Because someone said his thigh was strapped.
Yes, but I think that strapping includes the groin area.
Okay. Yes.
Without going into an anatomy
lesson, yes.
Lesson.
I'll get the...
But no, someone's confirmed on the boards somewhere that Nibbler's out for at least a week.
Yep.
I'm not sure what the sort of the longer term prognosis is. Hopefully he'll be back soon. But I don't know why they've said rested when he is injured. And obviously injured because he's not training.
Well, they made a point to say rested. It wasn't, they said Lewis was injured. So it was strange wording if he does have a groin injury. Well, obviously anyone injured is being rested, so they're not lying. But it was a strange choice of wording.
Sorry, just go through again. Who's Tyson's back?
Jetta's back. Garlett's back, and Frost is back. I would like to see Frosty get a game before the season starts.
But if he's, do you think he'll be in the
final
do you think
team?
They'll play three tools?
Yeah,
come round one.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
No.
And on that basis, I don't see that.
We've got to have a look
this
at
week.
matchups with Geelong as well. We need that one tall to cover Hawkins, but I don't know if we need three. So,
I can't see Frost playing round one. Under which case, I can't see him playing tomorrow night.
Yeah, if that's the case. Tom McDonald was an interesting one. He has been named on an extended bench, and someone who went to training today said he wasn't training. He was listed amongst, the guys that we know who are injured and weren't there. They didn't say that he was injured, but... So it's interesting. Maybe he won't be playing tomorrow night. So we've got on the interchange bench, the extended bench, which is going to be cut down. Is it 22 for tomorrow night?
Or 24, I'm not sure.
I thought it was 22.
As you can see, I haven't paid too much attention to the rules and regs of the JLT.
Well, we should. Next year, next year we promise we'll come back a little bit more versed in the JLT, and it'll probably change by then as well.
Yes.
So on the bench, Harms, who was absent from the family day, Brayshaw.
But was that training, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he wasn't absent from training, so
should come.
I don't know why people are so. There's a few people obsessed by James's non-appearance at the family day. I don't know what they're digging at, but there could be 10 million reasons why he wasn't there. It could have been his grandfather's birthday.
Of course.
He might have woken up with a migraine.
It could have been a number of things.
I don't know why people think it's suspicious.
You know what? That's the nature of message boards and, human nature, I think. Guys not there, people with seeing conspiracy theories because it wasn't mentioned by Robbo, who was announcing all the players. So all of a sudden that's even worse. Because Daisy wasn't there, but they mentioned that she had a prior engagement, but they didn't say anything about it. Anyway, he wasn't there, but he's been named in the team. You would think if there was anything worse, then he would have been dropped or something. Anyway, so and they always could have said he's being rested because that's a popular one. James
Melbourne forward says it's 23 in JLT 2.
All right, so we have a bench of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's got to be cut down only. What do we have?
By
to
2.
cut 3. No, by 3. If you're going to have 8 minus 5.
Yes.
Yes. So maybe we'll include a math lesson for next year. Harms, Brayshaw, Tyson, Frost, Maynard, Vince, McDonald, and Bug on that bench. Now, I guess anyone from inside the team can miss out as well. So the bench doesn't really tell us much. But McDonald being on the bench and not training, does it?
Well, perhaps if he's got a niggle, then you'd think, Peterson goes.
Well, Peterson's been named centre forward, so you'd think he'd be playing. It's going to be an interesting.
He takes the Tom Mack role and relieves Maxie in the ruck.
Yeah. And look, it could just be someone mentioned, could be a load thing. Tom did play in the AFLX, he did play in JLT1, so
absolutely
could just be a load.
But you'd think that Tyson will play, and get time.
Yeah, particularly with AMB out, he'll definitely take that role. And
you'd want Jeffy to also get a bit of run into the legs, I would have thought too.
Yeah.
Given his restricted pre-season.
He has had a restricted pre-season, so I'm just looking at Despicable Me was at training today. He said, I was there for about the last half hour or so, saw Joel's... Oh, so he was there only for half hour. There was someone else who... this was Earl Hood was there today. The other guy was there the other day. Beautiful morning today. Dropped the car off for service in Docklands. Blah, blah, blah. I don't need to get his day. Routine session that went for about an hour. Emphasis on ball skills and kicking. They broke up into groups and he watched the mids exercise, Gorn and Pedo in the ruck, ball-ups, but taking it in turns to tap to the nominated mid who would call which side to tap the ball. I don't think they'll be doing that during the game. The mids were Jones, Oliver, Tyson, Salem, Angus and Maynard. He watched Fritsch, who doesn't do much wrong, clean hands and hits most targets. They did a few torpedo bombs out of the goal square, and they can some of them. And Fritsch can roost it. Jetta was training well as well. He said no T-Mac, Viney, Vandenberg or McKenna. Both Lewis and A and B were doing laps. He said JLT players came out later and trained on their... Non-JLT players came out later and trained on their own, including Harms, a probable omission. make of that what you
Maybe
will.
there is a conspiracy.
Yes, we've
worth
uncovered it.
investigating.
Got to read the training threads on Demonland, people. That's where all the information is. So anyway, it'd be interesting. St Kilda have probably their strongest lineup, so it'll be a good gauge of where we at in relation to them. Always,
We're better than St Kilda, surely.
we are, but a couple of the players who usually harm us the most when we used to play them are no longer there. Rewalt being one of them, and Montagna always used to bob up and but I'm a little bit worried.
Now he's bobbing up on our TVs.
Yeah,
I've seen.
their forwards always worry me.
What a great development that is.
Well, that always happens at the end of careers.
Yeah,
they try out some of the players. They always worry a little bit about their forwards. But hopefully I wonder if we will go a bit taller because they've got McCartan, Membry and Bruce.
Yeah, but again, we play the zone, not man on man. So
that's right.
It doesn't really work that way anymore.
Yep, that is true.
You know, you're just as likely to see Nev one out with on some of those bigger players. The way it ends up panning out sometimes.
Yep. Well, so the game is tomorrow night, 7:05 at Casey Fields. They've been plugging on social media to buy tickets for that event. So I'm not sure what the story is there. If you are going down, whether you pre-buy tickets, you don't want to be in a situation like Chris Judd and not be able to get into the game, and saying you're a member of Demonland is probably not going to get you in. So, but I believe it's on TV as well. So if you can't make it down, watch the boys on TV. And
on Channel 7 TV?
No, Foxtel.
No, Foxtel.
Don't be silly.
Yeah.
That's...
Well, I noticed that Dwayne was calling tonight's game, so hopefully that means...
Sometimes they travel.
That we get Huddo or someone else tomorrow night. Adam Papalia.
They sometimes make these guys travel a couple of times. Sometimes you see the same guy 2 days in a row commentating, but hopefully we don't get him. Anything else before we wrap it up? Anything that's caught your fancy on the website this week? I noticed that the pre-game warm-up is dead.
Why are they doing that?
Well, they seem to imply that perhaps, and not for every game, that there will be some curtain raisers. They seem to imply there would be more sort of home team entertainment. They didn't come out and say that, but they said something about entertainment, so I'm assuming maybe it means Robbo gets out there and does something a bit earlier. But I don't know why they can't do that, and also...
Presumably they've cleared it with the clubs, and the clubs didn't say, oh, well, we have to do our routines, as part of our preparation. So I'm presuming that the clubs sort of signed off and it said it doesn't affect us at all.
Because I remember when it came in, I think the Bulldogs pioneered it, and that scientific method. They'll still do that. So I don't think it's. I would like to see some. I wonder if they're going to play curtain raisers. You want them to be sort of relevant to, like, if we're playing. Maybe a Casey match before, a couple Casey matches. I don't think it's going to happen this year because I just saw the Casey fixture and none of them said the MCG. So I don't think it's going to happen this year. But, I mean, would you like to sort of see Casey play the occasional game?
I'd absolutely. I'd go watch the full thing if they were on before the seniors. Absolutely.
And
that'd be great. I can't see it happening though.
No, I don't know what they're going to play, but I'm not interested in seeing some under-18s competition before it either.
I mean, you're then robbing the community of those community games. We're robbing the Casey area of that game, so I can't see it happening. And I don't, as much as I'd like it selfishly, I don't necessarily think it's good for the game.
What about? I would have thought in order to get people into the AFLW, I always thought they probably should have played them as curtain raisers in the first few years. No, don't agree.
Not sure. I haven't thought much about it, but I like developing the women's game as a standalone thing that doesn't need to, hang on to the coattails of the men's game. So, not sure about that.
Well, speaking of,
I could see how it has advantages in perhaps building up crowds, but as I say, I think it's probably better to develop that on its own and let it run off its own steam.
Yeah, you would think they probably did a little bit of research before they came up with that decision. Speaking of the women's, did you watch any of last Friday night's Heartstopper out at Casey?
It was a Heartstopper. I saw some of the highlights, but I missed the game live. Crucial win.
Yeah, it was. It
crucial. Kept the season alive, I guess.
It did, and it's still, the season still isn't in our own hands. It is. We've still got to win the games, but we certainly
will be reliant on others.
Yeah. Look, we can do ourselves a bit of a favour by thumping the Blues this week. But yeah, I think we still need most likely Brisbane to drop a game. So yeah,
they may have blown it again as they did last year. Unfortunately, time will tell. But
yeah, it seems like if we do win every game, we could miss out by a small percentage. So
just like last
year and in the men's. So it's a recurring theme with the Dees.
Now, an interesting tip-off from Bin Man here, and we should just put a disclaimer on this because you and I don't take gambling. We don't take money from gambling agencies. We don't promote betting. You and I, we don't own any pokies. We don't like filling up the podcast with betting ads. But according to Bin Man, the Dees are at $2.25 against the Cats. And that's really good money, I would have thought. Surely it's got to be closer than that.
Yeah, that is good. It's tempting. I don't have a good record with betting on the Dees.
I don't punt, to be honest.
I have a very good record betting against us.
Enjoy the punt with the footy. Surely it ruins your experience because you're angling either for a point spread or something else. So, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. Put $100 on us. I really want to win that game. That is just I want to win every game, but that would be an amazing start to the year.
We're still 2 weeks away. We haven't seen teams, and but I'm pretty confident going in. I actually reckon we'll win comfortably, and I think Geelong are a bit overrated this year.
Look, that midfield scares me, but they're going to go in underdone, I think. Sounds like Ablett's not going to play JLT before then. Selwood might not play JLT before then. You'd think they'll probably play... look, and I didn't watch a lot of that game that they played, but it seems that their midfield doesn't bat too deeply when you take the three amigos out of there. So, interesting.
I'm confident we can cover them, and I think we'll get off to a very good start this year.
Well, we will be talking about that.
I noticed that Demonland's resident pessimist, Old D, he's absolutely convinced we're going to win round one. He's not listening to anything else. He's marked it down in his book already. And for Old D to be thinking that, there's got to be something to it. Very hard man to get in a good mood. about our form.
It seems there is a lot of positivity, but this time of the year is always like this. It's my favourite time of the year. There's so much positivity, and then we come to round one, and in the past that's been our downfall. But the positivity around. Let's hope there's something to it. So. JLT2 tomorrow night, 7:05, Casey Fields. It's on Foxtel, but try and get down if you can. Support the boys. We'll be back next week with a brand new show for you guys. Thank you to Neville Jetta and Grapevine. Thank you to you as well. Anything you want to plug or mention before we go out?
No. We're good to go. We wish Jeff White the best.
Yes. You can talk about
been struggling with his health just recently, heart issues. We spoke to him last year, of course. It's hard to believe that someone, that young and that healthy, can be afflicted as such. But that's what we're hearing. So we send him our very best wishes.
Yeah, all the best to Jeff White. He had mentioned a few weeks ago on Instagram that he had suffered a stroke, and I think he's been diagnosed with some heart issues for that. But yeah, all the best to Jeff White. When he came on the podcast, he was great. Great interview. I follow him on social media. He's got a good business happening, which he's very passionate about. So we wish him all the best. And he's got a young family too. So sending prayers his way, and all the best to Jeff. And we'll be back. We'll be back next week. Hopefully, talking about another stirring victory in the JLT series. And then we'll turn our attention towards the big league stuff coming up in a few weeks' time. My name's Andy Grapevine. Thank you very much. Neville Jetta, thank you. And we'll see you next week. Go Dees.
We got the speed, we got the need, we got the power.